Have you ever wondered why the church matters? Why it still exists after thousands of years, through persecution, mistakes, scandals, and even cultural shifts that tried to erase it? Many people today are walking away from the church, saying, "I can believe in God without going to church," or "Church isn't what it used to be." And maybe you felt that way too, tired, disappointed, or disconnected from what church was supposed to be. But what if church was never meant to be a weekly obligation, or a building you visit on Sundays? What if, from the very beginning, God designed the church to be something alive, something sacred, powerful, and deeply personal? Today, let's look at why church still matters. Because when we understand what the church truly is, we'll stop treating it as optional, and start seeing it as essential to our walk with God. 1. The church is a family to belong to. Think about this: no one chooses their family. You're born into it. And in the same way, when you gave your life to Christ, you were born into a spiritual family, the family of God. That means you're not an only child in the faith. You're part of something bigger, a household filled with brothers and sisters who share the same Father. Church isn't just about attending a service, it's about belonging. It's where you find connection, support, and accountability. Yet, many people walk into church and walk right back out without ever letting anyone in. They sit through worship, listen to the message, and leave before anyone even knows their name. But God never intended for faith to be a solo journey. Family isn't perfect. There are misunderstandings, conflicts, and growing pains. But family is where you learn grace. It's where you learn to love people even when it's hard. And when you realize the church is your family, you stop asking, "What can I get out of it?" and start asking, "How can I help it grow?" Church is not a crowd you watch, it's a family you invest in. 2. The church is a body to function in. Every part of your body has a role: eyes see, ears hear, hands serve, and feet move. If one part refuses to function, the whole body suffers. The church is the same way. Every believer has a purpose, a unique gift designed to help the whole body move in harmony. Some teach, some encourage, some lead, some pray, some create. All of it matters. The problem is, many people sit in church as spectators rather than participants. They see others serving and think, "They don't need me." But the truth is, without you, the body is incomplete. Your voice, your presence, your gift, they're all part of God's design. When you use what He's given you, you strengthen others. And when you hold back, you limit what the church can become. God didn't call you to be a consumer of faith, He called you to be a contributor. And when everyone plays their part, the church moves with power and unity. 3. The church is a flock to be cared for. One of the most beautiful pictures of the church is a flock of sheep with a shepherd who leads, protects, and provides. Sheep aren't meant to wander alone, it's dangerous out there. When a sheep strays too far, it becomes easy prey for wolves. That's why the shepherd calls them together, not to control them, but to keep them safe. In the same way, God places us in community under spiritual leadership for our protection and growth. He raises shepherds, pastors, mentors, and elders, who watch over the flock, guide them, and help them stay on the right path. Yes, no church leader is perfect. But that doesn't mean God's design is flawed. Isolation may feel easier at times, but it's never safer. The flock thrives together, feeding, growing, and staying near the shepherd's voice. And when one sheep stumbles, the others help it back on its feet. That's the beauty of belonging. You don't have to fight life's battles alone. 4. The church is a bride to be loved. If you've ever been to a wedding, you've seen how much attention is given to the bride, the dress, the details, the joy in her eyes. Now imagine this: God looks at the church the same way. The church isn't just an organization, she's a bride, deeply loved by her groom, Jesus. He gave His life for her, not because she was perfect, but because He saw what she could become. The church may have flaws, scars, and mistakes, but her groom is patient. He continues to wash, refine, and prepare her for the day when she'll stand radiant, pure, and complete before Him. When you speak badly of the church, remember, you're talking about someone Jesus loves. When you distance yourself from her, you're distancing yourself from His heart. He loves His bride, with a love that forgives, restores, and never gives up. And He calls us to love her too, even when she's imperfect. 5. The church is a possession to be holy. There's something powerful about knowing you belong to God, not as a number, not as a servant, but as his possession. The church is his chosen people, set apart, sacred, and precious to him. That means our lives, both individually and collectively, should reflect his character. We are meant to live differently, love differently, and respond differently because we belong to him. Holiness isn't about rules or appearances, it's about identity. When you understand who you belong to, it changes how you live. You no longer act like the world, because your heart is aligned with heaven. God doesn't just visit the church, he dwells in her. And if his Spirit lives within us, then holiness isn't a burden, it's a calling. We represent him to the world, not through perfection, but through transformation. 6. The church is a light to the world. Finally, the church is not just something that happens inside four walls. It's not limited to Sunday mornings or midweek services. The church is meant to shine, to bring light into darkness, hope into despair, and truth into confusion. Jesus called his followers the light of the world, a city on a hill that cannot be hidden. That's what the church is meant to be, visible, radiant, and full of love that draws people toward God. When the church lives out its purpose, it becomes the hope of the community, feeding the hungry, comforting the broken, defending the voiceless, and carrying light where others see only darkness. But if the light hides inside the church building, the world remains dim. That's why every believer is called to shine where they are, at work, in school, in their families, and in their neighborhoods. The church isn't a place we go to escape the world, it's a people God sends into the world to transform it. And when we shine together, the darkness doesn't stand a chance. So, why does church still matter today? Because it's more than a tradition, it's the heartbeat of God's plan. It's where faith becomes family, where gifts find purpose, where lost hearts find care, where love is refined, where holiness is cultivated, and where light pierces through the darkest corners of the earth. The church is God's idea. He established it, he sustains it, and he promises that the gates of hell will never prevail against it. Yes, churches can fail. People can disappoint. Leaders can fall. But even when humanity breaks, God's design remains unshaken. He still moves through his people. He still heals through their prayers. He still speaks through their voices. So instead of giving up on the church, maybe it's time to rediscover what it was always meant to be. A place of belonging. A community of faith. A reflection of heaven on earth. Maybe you've been hurt by church before. Maybe you've walked away because it didn't live up to what you hoped it would be. But here's something to remember, the church is made up of imperfect people who are all trying to follow a perfect God. It's messy sometimes, but it's worth it. Because even in its brokenness, the church is still the vessel God chooses to reveal his love to the world. You are part of that story. Your presence matters. Your gifts matter. Your love matters. When you show up, when you serve, when you forgive, when you give, you're helping the world see a glimpse of God's heart. So the next time you think, why should I go to church, remember this, church isn't about where you go, it's about who you're becoming. And through it all, God is building something eternal. A family. A body. A flock. A bride. A possession. A light. That's the church. That's you. That's why church still matters. If this message spoke to you, take a moment to reflect on your place in God's family. Reach out. Reconnect. Rebuild. Because when we come together, heaven touches earth, and through us, the world sees Jesus.